Alors, on va passer à l'intervention suivante. Nous avons besoin, dans ce cadre-là, de notre petit casque. Donc, je vous rappelle, pour la version française, vous mettez sur le réseau 1. Donc, nous accueillons Gareth Stratton, qui a reçu le prix ECOG 2011 et qui va nous présenter Sportslinx, programme sur les habitudes alimentaires des enfants de la ville de Liverpool. Vous aurez donc la traduction en simultané et je vous remercie. C'est à vous.
Merci, and thank you. With great pleasure, I think that I can stand up and present some of the 16, 17 years of work that we've completed in Liverpool. So this project is a highly complex project, and so today is just presenting some of the project and its findings to you all in recognition of the award that Louis Bonduelle has presented us. You notice I'm now at Swansea University. I was at Liverpool. I've moved recently after 21 years in Liverpool. Swansea is beautiful. It's right next to the sea. If any of you don't know where it is, it's a lovely place to come. So you're quite welcome to come at any particular time. Not quite a Liverpool though. So this is Liverpool. Liverpool has a population of about 430,000 people. It's in the northwest of England, and it's built right next to a big river, and was the centre for world trade about 120 years ago. Famous for the Beatles. This is the new scientific part of the university where sports and exercise science and nutrition sits, and of course we're pretty well known for that, for football. The problem with the UK, of course, and similarly across the world, is the fact that overweight and obese children, the prevalence or the number is going up. And if these levels continue to rise, by 2050, 60% of men, half of women, and a quarter of children will be obese in the UK. That is a shocking statistic. And this is very, very expensive, of course. It was costing, in the UK, the National Health Service, a significant amount of money. In Liverpool, Liverpool has a health promotion strategy. There are 4 parts to it. This is the nutrition. It's called A Taste for Health. Liverpool Active City, the working employment issue, and smoke-free. These are the 2 that the Sportslinx programme sits underneath. So Sportslinx is a word sports for Liverpool's next generation. Okay, so that's what it stands for. So there's a website, if you ever want to go to the website, and this project is about the surveillance, prevention, management and treatment of physical activity and nutrition type issues with young people. This is Liverpool in 1998 to 1999, and we have the prevalence of overweight in each of these areas. These are little sort of, I guess, maries or sub-areas of Liverpool. The highest prevalence is here, where the airport is, and in other areas. And then, as the colours get more towards red, of course, there's a greater degree of prevalence. That was about 13 years ago. In 2002 to 2003, there was a big increase, especially in these areas, which are areas of fairly high deprivation. And then, by 2006, we've got a really shocking spread of probably better data, as much as increases in obesity, but this is really high for girls and pretty high for boys. So there's a population level problem that we have in Liverpool, and I'd argue also across the UK and arguably in other parts of the world as well. So this project, therefore, is to promote physical activity, sport and healthy eating, and it focuses mainly on 9 to 10-year-olds, and we also do some work with the 11 to 12-year-olds because of the resource implications for a project like this. So I'm just going to show you a short video, hopefully it'll work, about the project and the sort of things that the project entails.
We're very proud of our Sportslinx project, which continues to break new ground in the promotion of children's health activity. particularly in terms of encouraging healthy lifestyles through sport.
Liverpool Sportslinx project, in partnership with Healthy Schools and Liverpool Job Moors University, is one of the largest ongoing health and fitness programmes in Europe.
Up, up, down, down. Up, down, down. Stretch those bodies.
We're working with about 9,000 Liverpool children, and we're involved in physical activity, grassroots sessions, and it's the foundation to many of our sports development programmes.
Well, we've taken the project from one of the early stages. I think we were one of the first schools involved, and it matches our philosophy for sport that we have in school. We believe that children need to be healthy in both body and mind, and Sportslinx tries to encourage that. So it fits and dovetails nicely into what we do in the curriculum and in our extracurricular activities.
19, 20.
Just a big cheesy smile. Good lad. 142 centimetres tall. After monitoring the children's fitness levels, they'll try 2 or 3 different sports in a morning or an afternoon session. They're then given the opportunity from those sports to take one on as an after-school activity for 6 weeks.
But you wouldn't be able to do your physical activity unless you had a good supply of energy, and we get our energy from food, okay?
Oops. Okay, I've stopped a little bit short, that's fine. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a flavour. There's a lot more nutrition things, by the way, workshops, food taster sessions, food preparation sessions, and the focus is on competence, on being able to do these things, have the skills to prepare your food, have the skills to be active, and so on and so forth, which has largely gone missing from this ever great increasing pressure on academic achievement in schools. So, by way of tools, this is the tool that we use. We use a food intake questionnaire. We don't believe at a population level we can actually record nutrition intake very, very well. So we use a food intake questionnaire to try and give us a barometer, a feel for the changes in food intake across the population. We've had a lot of children complete the questionnaire in total over this period of time, from 2001 to 2009. Around 30,000 children completed that part of the project. And we can also map the data. So across Liverpool, we can map the data with our GIS, postcode approach, zip code approach, sorry. And this particular picture shows the proportion of fruit and vegetables by boys and girls in different sub-wards of the city. So it gives us an idea whether it's worth maybe focusing on boys eating less vegetables than girls. Even though they're in the same area of deprivation, things are different. It's very difficult to treat every child with the same approach. We have very different needs, even though we think deprivation is an issue. You know, so boys look like fruit's okay, but basically in most cases, with some exceptions, certainly in the deprived areas, would maybe consume less vegetables. There's a very large, I've said, program, very complex program. The nutritional information gets linked with physical activity, and we provide a lot of data from this. And from that, we use this to develop food nutrition projects. So the food nutrition project has changed over the 15 years. It's changed in relation to the data that we're getting from the population, which again is pretty important, and it's actually quite a difficult thing to do. The project involves a series of measurements, a series of a fitness fun day that you saw on the video, and in addition to the measurements, there are also a collection of dietary intake, and then the team goes into school. So in this case, we have a free 6 to 18-week after-school club. There's a free nutrition day, free equipment here, and this is all supported by a partnership between the local authority, the city council, the universities, and schools. There's a fruit taster day with funky foods before the children are involved. A lot, very similar to the, to the last project we saw by Jean-Christophe in the MARPA project, in the sense that a lot of food preparation, a lot of fun, a lot of good fun activity around food, a lot of creativity, a lot of artwork, and a lot of tasting, because actually some children in the UK don't actually have a table at home. They just sit down with a tray, put it on their lap as they sit and watch TV. And so this is about social togetherness. It's also about getting up onto your feet, by the way. Just, I'm not sure if you know, but I'm quite a specialist in physical activity, and the longer you sit, the shorter you live. You want people to get up onto their feet more often. So please feel free to walk around whilst I'm talking if you want to. It's not a problem. And it's seriously not a problem. So there's lots of time spent on fruit tasters. And then, of course, food preparation and having fun about this, but looking at different foods, different tastes. And, of course, Liverpool's quite a cosmopolitan city. Therefore, there are a variety of foods that are available. Liverpool, by the way, has the oldest Chinese population in Liverpool. In Europe, sorry. Of course it does. In Europe. So a lot of influence by the Asian population in Liverpool as well. So we get the data from the questionnaire. We have dietary behaviour, we have sport and physical activity. We also have issues around what parents do sport-wise and what they eat, smoking and health beliefs. So we also ask general questions what they think their health is like. And actually children are pretty good at judging their health in relation to the quantitative data that we collect of them, even at the age of 9 and 10. So I'm just going to present some results. There are literally lots of results. So this is a standard graphic. This is the prevalence of boys who consume fruit consumption in any previous day. Did you consume any portion of fruit the day before, is the question. So over from 2000 to 2010, there's been a significant increase. This is the population level increase in fruit consumption. Same for the girls. This is vegetables for the girls, though. And the same sort of thing for girls. We see an increase up to 2006. Slight decrease, but generally from baseline here, an increase in vegetable consumption. This is chips, frites, I suppose, in French. An increase here and a decrease. The popular British diet, the thing all you French love, fish and chips when you come to the UK. Saw a lot of on TV yesterday. But a decrease in the number of boys who ate chips the day before. And this big issue we have about this hidden sugar in fizzy drinks, in 7-Up, in Tango, or lots of Coca-Cola. Quite a big decrease in the number of girls who consumed a sugary drink or put sugar on food the day before. We also ask children about, what sort of effect did this workshop have on your ability to prepare food or your tastes? And these are some of the things that they said. So I made couscous. This is Liverpool, by the way, okay? For me dad. Should say for my dad. Don't start changing your English. I made couscous for me dad. All right there, mate. Don't have to translate that. Because me dad liked it. So me mum, my mother, I still have the translation. They're translating up there, and now I'm translating for you. My mum went out and got all the stuff. Maybe this mother had never bought couscous before, quite likely. And then I made it. And then we had lots of fun. What a lovely thing to say. A great thing to say, a great effect from one child making a comment. What about parents? Parents say, well, I've noticed he's tasting things now, whereas before he'd go and say, I don't like that, without tasting it. He's eating more fruit and veg as well. It's been a big improvement. Actually, I went to a conference about a year or so ago, and somebody called Marion Hetherington from Leeds was explaining how British mothers try to persuade their children from the age of 2 onwards to eat and taste food. And after 3 or 4 times, they give up. If the child says, I don't like it, they give up. Apparently in France, you try at least 12 times before you accept the children don't eat food. So there's a bit of a difference as well there. So there's an example. And then what about the teachers? Because these are the 3 key people, aren't they? We're trying to work with the children themselves parents and teachers. The key factors around a child's life are those, are teachers as well. So they think this is an excellent idea because of families don't eat together very often these days. Because it's fast, convenient food. Very interesting, the age difference we had from the previous presentations. They don't see food being prepared. And he said it's a light skill. So, we don't have cooking in the UK. And in schools, we have heating rooms. You put food in something, warm it up. It's already made, and you heat it, and then you eat it. So I've asked a few of them if they've actually carried on with anything. So this is, does the effect of this program, does it last? Is it maintained? Do children keep these skills? And they said, oh yeah, they had. They keep on making things at home. Obviously, there's always a decrease in that, and there's a lot of parental pressure because of time, etc. That's one of the issues you get in terms of changing things. Time is never have enough time. They made things at home. So hopefully there's been some long-term effect of this. A lot of this work is published in high-quality research journals, in International Journal of Obesity, International Journal of Pediatric Obesity, Journal of Human Nutrition and Dietetics, and the Ecology of Food and Nutrition. So, if you're academic and you want to find lots of this work, you'll find it in the literature. But going back to the first slide about one of the first is about that increase in fatness in Liverpool school children. This is where we were in the year 2000, and then we saw an increase. But for the past block of time, we've seen a plateau. So at least it's not going up, and hopefully we'll see it come back down again, because this is what the target was, to try and get back down to these levels. But that's quite an effort. But we've started to show that we're having an effect on that, I think, by certainly increasing both physical activity and improving dietary behaviour. So what does this work add? It promotes the dietary habits of children. It's feasible at the city level. So we've got this structured programme which occupies every school, every 9 to 10-year-old. We call it a rites of passage. Every child almost now has a right to be part of this programme, albeit just for 1 year, but certainly they have a right to be part of the programme. It's also really difficult to keep partnerships going because people leave their jobs, skills change, people move on, and a program, keeping a program like this going for it's now in its 16th, coming up to 17th year next year, is tough. And actually we've had to scale the program back because of all the austerity measures that we hear about, and so the program isn't quite as big as it was. But it's very important, actually, because we think that if we have these programs, a formulation of a good partnership over time, we can affect citywide and national health policies. And changes take time. What we see is, and I'm sure you're all well aware of this, we invest in a program, we run it for a year, then we change our minds and move into something else. It's like a fashion. This thing works, but it takes time to get the results. And it's particularly in young people. This is a big investment for the future. We've already seen the statistics on the increasing age of the population. Well, this is a really important thing to do, to invest early. And arguably, we were doing this with 9 to 10-year-olds. Most of our work is now shifting actually to the under 5s, because that's the thing where we can probably make an even bigger difference before too many habits are really formed. We had a change in intake of positive foods. We have positive foods, fruit and vegetables, negative foods, chips and sugary foods, for example. But food intake cannot be divorced from social, political and economic landscape. And some parts of Liverpool have high dense housing, and on all the corners are McDonald's or those fast food shops. So it's convenient to buy that sort of food. It's really easy to buy that. So the built environment is also significant for this. But we can change the eating habits, and we also have slowed down this increase in overweight and obesity. So that's my conclusion. Thank you very much for listening, and take some questions at the end, I guess. Thank you.
Oui. Merci beaucoup, Gareth Stratton, pour cet exposé très passionné. Oui, s'il vous plaît. On a le temps de poser peut-être une petite question. Vous dites club de nutrition dans votre...
Pardonnez-moi.
Alors, vous mettez canal 2. Oui. Oui, vous m'entendez? Vous parlez de... Non, ça marche
I
pas.
can. It's too loud.
C'est OK? Bon. Alors, juste une petite question. Vous parlez de club de nutrition, au même titre qu'on pourrait parler de club de sport. Donc, on a une vision déjà très positive de cette approche de la nutrition. Ça donne une image plus dynamique, qui donne plus envie, en tout cas, de participer pour les jeunes. Vous pensez que les appellations et la façon de rendre les choses ludiques ont beaucoup contribué à ce succès, quand même, déjà depuis plus de 10 ans?
There's no doubt at all that I think, given the current psychology of young people, we need to make things enjoyable. We need learning to be engaging, and children enjoy learning by doing, and doing becomes fun. You know, I think the balance in the UK curriculum was much against sport and physical activity, and very much against doing things, because the focus was on academic work. But actually the natural engagement for young people is to try to develop their competencies, most of them. And we need variety, you know, and we need to take a balance on competition through sport. Competition comes in too early. We need fun, and we need people to be positive about recognizing that some people like certain types of foods and some people... So all these things come through. There's a lot of social dynamic that goes into this, but overall, I'd welcome anybody to come to Liverpool and take part in a can cook club, because it's not can't cook, it's can cook, can prepare food, and I think that's absolutely right. I think it's important that the activities are very engaging and fun, and that we actually take time in preparing these activities to be fun for the children.
Merci beaucoup.